Hi guys, Adam Stevenson again here. This is me coming to you with tip number 3 in a series of 3 lessons, 3 tips on how you can recalibrate your mind and your body so you can play more efficient golf out on the golf course. If you missed tip number 1 or tip number 2, don't worry. Just go back in social media, back on YouTube, back on Instagram, back on Facebook 2 or 3 weeks back. You'll catch 2 weeks back tip number 1. 1 week ago was tip number 2, and now we're moving on to tip number 3 on how you can recalibrate your mind and your body to play better golf. All right, so tip number 3. All right, so we've worked on tip number 1, tip number 2. Tip number 3 is kind of like the icing on top of the pudding. It's the creme de la creme. This is the cheese on the pizza. We need it. All right. So tip number 3 is, again, we're gonna have bad shots out there. We're gonna have bad holes. Golf is not a game of perfection, even though we are perfectionists as golfers. We try to hit the perfect shot every single time, and the minute we're just a little bit off, we get frustrated. And that frustration we often take with us and carry with us onto the next hole. And how do you think that hole is going to be if you got all this emotional baggage with you from the last hole, the previous hole? Not great, right? So what I want you to do, and this is what a lot of top sports psychologists have been doing for years with their athletes, is to actually work on their breathing. That sounds a little bit hocus pocus, I know. You're breathing constantly, right? Well, after tip number 1 and tip number 2, this will start to make a little bit more sense to you, because once you start walking and enjoying yourself and feeling better by lifting your head up, you're able to open up your lungs and breathe properly. So now you just got to do it. You got to practice it. Okay, a lot of us are actually chest breathers, where we're breathing constantly only in our chest, and we never really get air down to our abdomen. And what happens is, when we're able to get oxygen down into our stomach here, we're actually able to sort of feed our body with oxygen, and that calms our parasympathetic nervous system down. So when we hit a bad shot and we start to get a little frustrated and our body starts to go into fight or flight mode and cortisol is pumping through our body and we're aggravated and irritated, we can get rid of that by working on our breathing. Okay, so what we need to do is actually work on what I like to call a 4 to 5 ratio. Okay, so what I want you to do is breathe through your nose and count to the number of 4, and then breathe out through your mouth, counting to 5. And I want you to repeat that ratio 3 times. Now, when you're doing that, you're actually, as I mentioned, recalibrating your nervous system and calming your nerves down, so you feel more relaxed and you're able to focus on the next hole or the next shot in front of you, and you've released yourself from all that baggage from the previous shot or the previous hole. So that's really important. Okay, but the second thing that's happening is just mentally focusing on the number of counting 4 on the way in, breathing in, and counting to 5 on the way out, and repeating that 3 times. You're tricking your mind. You're actually focusing on breathing instead of focusing on your frustration. So you're releasing the impact of that frustration, of that catastrophic hole you just had, or that shot you just hit, that terrible shot that went out of bounds or into the water. All right, that frustration, you need to release it so that you're able to focus with 100% clarity on the next shot. All right, we've all heard that saying that the most important shot in golf is the next shot, not the last shot. We can't do anything about that, but the next shot, that's the one where you can save yourself or even, improve your game. So when you're out there and you hit a bad shot or have a bad hole, as we all do, because I said golf is not a game of perfect, I want you to work on your breathing. Try it, okay? You can even try it at home. While you're watching this video here, just work on it and see how you feel after that 3 repetitions of breathing. 4 in, 5 out, in through the nose, out through the mouth. When you're finished with that 3 times, I guarantee you'll feel more relaxed. All right, you'll feel actually quite well, quite relieved. So give this a try. All right, so we have tip number 1, we have tip number 2, we have tip number 3, and these 3 tips here are going to really, really help you to sort of recalibrate your body and your mind, so that when you're out playing golf, you're going to be able to play and focus on your game with 100% clarity, so you can play fantastic golf out there. I really hope these 3 tips help you out. Once again, my name's Adam Stevenson. You can follow me and subscribe on YouTube here. I got plenty more tips coming your way here in the future, so follow us and support us. That'd be very, very, very much appreciated. All right, guys, best of luck out there. We'll catch you next time. Bye for now.